came into power and 1 year in power. How would you assess this as someone who is grounded in intelligence?
Okay, this is it. If you looked at it 1 year before he came in and 1 year after he came in, I'll tell you sincerely that very little has changed. Probably the chieftains have changed.
Okay.
Those handling the situation has changed. And each of them has come in to put in what we call new energy into security operations, if you like. But when you come to the dynamics, when you come to the optics, when you come to national security, the feeling, the sense of being, little has changed.
What's responsible for this, really?
Good. I'll tell you something now. You see, security is like a cobweb. It's like a spider's web. And the spider sits in the middle and he knows if something is happening on that web through vibrations. So here's what is happening. Here's the real crux, the bane of our security situation here. The vibes we're sending out are encouraging all sorts to do whatever. So let's start with our outlands. What do I mean by outlands? I mean our fringes as a nation, the border. Nationally, our national borders. And even at the state level, our state borders. Our outlands are breeding outlaws. Our outlands are breeding outlaws. Call them bandits, call them militants, call them non-state actors, whatever you're going to call them. That's what is happening. Our outlands are building outlaws. And these outlaws, by their very acts and the frequency of their actions and the proliferation of their numbers across the country, regardless what you want to call them, are sending vibes out that seem to say ours is a fertile ground for brigands.
I was going to ask you, like, these outlaws, are they local? Are they indigenous people or
indigenous?
foreign?
Let me give you an example that the average person out there will understand. There is what we call location and localization of industries. So if you wanted to do business, for example, you wanted to sell pullovers, wind cheaters, you should be heading to the north by now. Because they will be needing it a lot there. Heaters will be selling well in Jos by now.
That's
and
right.
Maiduguri by now. That's the same thing when it comes to security or insecurity, regardless how you want to see it. It's about saying the glass is half full or it's half empty. But if you wanted to do anyhow, you wanted to do anything, ours is a fertile land. These outlaws are not in Togo. They are not in Ghana. They are not in which other country is close by. They're not there. They're all running this way because our outlands are fertile grounds and conduits for them to come, proliferate, and cash out. Then when you come to the states, I've talked at the national level now.
That's right.
When you come to the states now, each state has its own share of outlaws. And what do? They also seek the outlands of the states, which we now call ungoverned spaces, to go proliferate. So you go to a state which is even in the middle of this country, and you cannot even begin to say you want to enter the rural areas. You are in trouble. And then when you come to the state capitals, including the FCT, there are still ungoverned spaces there, just like uncompleted buildings. So the outlaws will seek those areas to go nestle and proliferate. So you find out that we are just like someone who has sand in his hair. And if you really want to get the sand off, absolutely, you have to shave that head clean.
Is it impossible in our situation?
It's not impossible in our situation, but the will is what is not there. I see our government, or our politicians rather, trying to be politically correct when we are in dire need, when we have these people at our jugular. I have proffered solutions that are as clinical as they are ruthless, because it calls for it. And anytime I do that, people develop cold feet. And then we pay prices that are even higher than the solutions I have proffered. So that's where we are right now.
I want to hear about the solution before we get into it, because the conversation will be purely solution or largely solution based. But let's talk about some of the issues that we're encountered with. Before now,
Yeah.
Boko Haram appeared to have been decimated. Same with, technically, decimated. Same with ISWAP. Then all of a sudden, they started launching attacks. Then we're hearing Lakurawa or Lukarawa, whichever spelling that they put. How did it get to the point where we were seen to be winning the war at some point? Then we're now beginning to see the old tree resurrecting again, and a new branch is coming out.
First, we start with the new branch, as was claimed. They are not a new branch. They've been there as far back as, let me say, 2016. They were actually herders who turned outlaws. And now they are propagating their own coloration of Islam. They've defined it as they want to. And then they also want to form a caliphate. And they are sitting in Sokoto doing that. And how did they come about? They were actually people who were brought into being by religious leaders, traditional leaders, and what have you, societal leaders. And they were meant to help fill a vacuum, a security vacuum then. And suddenly they have turned rogue.
They were brought in to fill a security
vacuum.
In what?
In the sense that when you wake up in the morning as a people and you see strangers in your land asking for taxes, if you don't give, they burn your farms, they kill you, and it's taking forever for you to get what I call governed presence in those ungoverned areas, in quotes. Then you start resorting to your own small, what I want to call impromptu, emergency first aid help, security help. And that was how they brought these headers about.
They brought them from where now?
From there. They are not foreigners.
They are not foreigners.
They are not per se. They are not foreigners per se. If you look for this book, Traditional Authority and Security in Contemporary Nigeria, it was written by an associate professor called Murtala Ahmed Rufai. You will see everything there. Yes.
What's the name of the book again?
Traditional Authority and Security in Contemporary Nigeria. I think you should be able to get a PDF version if you know how to download that.
Okay.
It's written by Murtala Ahmed Rufai. Everything was explained there. So here's the thing, as I said. When people see one organization cashing out profitably, they will tend to join up. In my profession, as intelligence officers, we were taught something, and wherever we go, we're encouraged to go with it. We were taught to understand that humans are first and foremost social in nature, and next, they are creatures of habit. They will copy, they will bond, they will learn from each other. And they are creatures of habit because each sect, each group has a way of doing things. You have a way of wearing shirt. If I look at you today and live with you, I know which hand you will put first. If you are taking your shoes on, I know which leg you don't do it consciously anymore. But I'll pick all those things and I can just do a graph. And is it second guessing they call it? I can close my eyes like, with all due respect, your wife should. She will buy you a pair of boxers. Permit me to use that example.
Okay.
And you will love
fine.
it. That's because we are creatures of habit and we are social in nature. So are people who sit down from wherever they've come and see that, this kind of conduct, this kind of behavior is trending here. It's paying off. Let's go join them. So you have seen a proliferation of outlaws across our nation, at our national and state fringes.
I want to talk to you some more about particularly the Northwest.
Yes.
Initially, everything about insecurity, at least in the 2014, 2015, was about the Northeast. What's happening? What's been happening in why the Northwest?
Yes, as I said, the Northwest because it's proliferating. You see,
is it more lucrative now? Is it more habitable now for them than the Northeast?
Well, if you look at what is happening, where you see bandits doing giveaway, how do they call it on TikTok? Where you see bandits telling you that they've received XYZ million and they're still expecting so million much more. And then I have to lose my own phone lines because I have not done my NIN, but the bandit is keeping his. What vibes are you sending out? What vibes are you sending out to those out of school youth, those povertized youth of the Northwest and Northeast, those hungry people? You have somebody that probably has never seen 10,000 in his whole life, and suddenly he's going to join a group where he can make 100,000 just because he grabbed someone off the road and asked for 10,000. 100 million. So those are the things that encourage these things. And as I told you, these things are getting bolder. And you see, the bolder they get, the more they dilute the majesty of law enforcement Nigeria. They rubbish the majesty of law enforcement Nigeria. We have gotten to that stage, that threshold, where we have to put niceties aside. I used to say in my previous programs across various media that democracy has teeth and it can bite. If you doubt it, go and read the history of the United States of America. So what I'm trying to say is simple. We have gotten to that stage now where the solutions have to be as clinical, as decisive, and as ruthless. That way, you send vibes to anyone that, look, if this is what you want to do, Nigeria is your cemetery. So don't come here, go elsewhere.
I'm really interested in that solution, but let's go take one or two calls, and I'll come to you because we'll go to the Southeast.
Okay.
And I'd like for you to tell me, what is exactly what has unfolded in the Southeast. How have we been able to manage it successfully or mismanage it, whichever it is to you. Lagos, let's get one or two calls in before our first break in this hour. You know the numbers. For those who are just tuning in, I've got Captain Blade here. He's an intelligence officer, a retired captain. Feel free to ask him your questions. 0201-277-0993. Female only line is 0201-465-7190. Please, if you are calling me, go straight to the point. It's very, very necessary for you to do that so we can manage our time very well. Good morning to you. Oh, that call has dropped. But do try and call me back if you can. Do try and call me back. Let me quickly go and take this one here. It says, okay, you know what? Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you. Yes, please.
Captain Blade, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I want to ask one question. You're a retired military officer. Why is it that when people commit crime, for example, although nobody is supporting them, when they commit crime on the roads, the soldiers will go and start destroying the community, start killing and maiming and doing. Is it normal?
Okay.
People that committed the crime have
the question is noted. Thank you. Let me take this one here from George. George, how are you doing? Good morning to you.
Good morning. God bless you.
You too.
Quickly, in a nation where the leadership sees themselves as slave masters, what do you see the subjects to be?
Okay.
They now regard the subjects are supposed to lead as slaves.
All right.
And that's why they bought the judiciary.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate it. Captain B, let's quickly take those two questions.
You
First
asked about soldiers destroying communities. That is a no-no. It shouldn't happen at all. Right. And the reason why you see such things happening is because there are certain operation logistics lacunas that if those logistics lacunas are put in place, you won't see such things. By now, on 2024 Earth, Nigeria, we should be able to have a situation where Sharif, as a brigade commander or as a battalion commander, you're sending troops out to go salvage a situation or do whatever. You can sit in your war room and watch it live. You can talk to the commander down to the section commander live because he has one little thing on him that gives you visibility. He has one little thing on him that also gives you what? Audiovisual communication ability.
So we don't have that?
I don't think so. If we're guided in such a manner where every soldier knows his brigade commander is watching, there is a gadget on at least the arrowheads showing what is happening, then you're going to see more restraint. You're going to see more restraint from the soldiers, and you're also going to see more restraint from the commanding officers and whoever is in charge of that operation, so that at the end of the day, where there are, issues, you can call for a replay of what happened and say, this is how we embossed, this is what we did, this was the route we followed, this was when we disbursed, we got to the location, this is how it... Nothing. Look, even drones can escort you. Drones can escort you. By now, I expect a platoon commander. If a section commander cannot, a platoon commander should have his baby drone in his pocket. There are little drones now that people, you see young men and young women use them to do a lot of skits and what have you. So going to the second question of our slave-master relationship, I think that is still a fallout of our inability to sit down and address those, what I want to call ordinances and dictates and laws that brought what we call our law enforcement agencies, even our political parties, into being. You see a lot of things happening that are not only, they are laughable. You see public office holders carrying on in ways that seem to say, look, you can't do anything about it. And they're doing this directly to people who voted them in. I'll give you an example for it. I was sitting with colleagues who are not Nigerians, but they're here in Nigeria, of course. They are expatriates. And one was asking me, and he said, listen, the way I see it, drunkenness in any capacity across any office, public and private, should come about with outright termination. That's why alcoholic beverages are not allowed in offices or in official engagements. You don't see the president at a function and there's a bottle of, a green bottle beside him. No, that's not to say alcohol is not consumed, but it's not brought to work. If you came to work smelling of alcohol all the time, it's going to affect your rating, and probably at the end of the day, they will probably show you the door. So why are we parading such no-nos? Why? Because we feel nothing will happen. You see law enforcement officers, sometimes you see them, we've seen it on go viral. You see uniformed men with their green bottles drinking, some are dead drunk and they are being filmed. Lately, we've seen somebody who was purportedly said to to be drunk, shoving our guests around. So why do these things come as an exception? That's part of the slavitude mentality our leaders have, that once you are a leader, everybody or every other person is meant to be talked down to, and you can do what you like.
Whatever you want to do.
No, it shouldn't be that. It rubbishes the majesty. Now look at it. Just look at our peers, friends and enemies alike, looking at all these things and taking notes. They become bolder and decide, even the non-entities become so bold, they want to come here and lakurawa away with our citizens and, form whatever they like. So that's what I'm saying. We need to do things that will prop us up. The magnitude and what I call the magnanimity of governance, it needs to be propped up.
I've also heard this. I don't know how true it is. Perhaps you'll be able to shed light on it. That even if a government wants to do that, there's a way sentiments play a huge role in the sense that people start saying they are coming after our people, they are coming after our men, they are coming after our brothers. They begin to tribalize government actions. What role does that play? Is that true in the first instance?
Sometimes it is, and it is because these things are not handled the way they should. I have observed something about our government, and probably to a larger extent, our law enforcement agencies. They grab the person first before they start their investigation.
That's right.
If you go to other clients...
Absolutely right.
If you go to other clients, they will give you the monkey treatment. They'll give you a long rope. They say you give a monkey a long rope, and what does he end up doing with it? He's going to hang himself with it. And when they are done, to the very dotting of I and crossing of T's, they come after you.
They come in, yeah.
Not any before. So when you see people coming for you, before they start investigating you, then that means there's probably some vendetta there. That means there's probably some agenda there. And so the blame lies, at the doorstep of our leaders and also at the doorstep of their security chieftains. If you ask me to go into, if you ask me to arrest Sheriff Quadry, for example, I'll say, sir, give me 1 week. I'll enter your life. I'll enter, as in when I say I'll enter your life, any security practitioner out there knows what I mean. You won't see me. I'll maintain an absent presence inside your life. And I'll find what I want there. Then I'll come at you with that. So there will be no...
Why isn't that a thing in law enforcement?
Because the order... You see, I pity my brothers and sisters
You
in
pity
law
them.
enforcement. Yes, because the order comes and he tells you, listen, go and pick this man up now. What did he do, my friend? Just go and bring him. Then when you bring him, you start looking for what to say he has done.
Captain, let's go to break, Lagos. Lagos, stay here with us. We're not done yet. We're just getting started. We'll be right back.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Looking for ways to overcome challenges in your career journey? The perfect time to step into a world of opportunity is now. At Markets for You, a trusted, well-renowned online trading company with over 17 years of experience and customers spread across the globe. Discover a new way to earn and learn by copying top traders from around the world. No previous experience required. If you're of 18, you can start earning profits from the comfort of your home today. Visit www.marketsforyou.com or call 0912-779-0500, 0912-779-0500 today to start your journey towards financial independence with Markets for You.
Do you know why you should take PregnaCare supplements before, during, and after pregnancy? PregnaCare is formulated by scientists to create the safest and most trusted formula. PregnaCare from Vitabiotics UK contains 19 micronutrients, including folic acid and vitamin B12, which help reduce birth defects in babies.
PregnaCare, helping produce healthy Nigerian babies and moms. Available now in all good pharmacies.
PregnaCare. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Pulse Fiesta Airlines Flight 2024, departing to the ultimate December party destination.
On December 8th, Queen's Park Event Center, Lagos. Prepare for an unforgettable journey packed with games, comedy, DJs, and the best hype man in town. Oh, and passengers, brace yourselves for the main event. Ruga, live on stage, plus top Nigerian artists. Tickets are just 5,000 naira. And each one gives you a shot at winning a life-changing 500,000 naira. Tickets available at bit.ly/PulseFiesta24. That is bit.ly/PulseFiesta24.
In every corner of Africa, there are stories waiting to unfold. Stories of strength and wisdom woven through time, teaching the next generation, igniting the flame of knowledge, embracing tradition, nurturing dreams, and building legacies. These are the heroines who inspire generations, because W Initiative empowers women to take control and be the architect of their future.
Being part of their legacy, the W Initiative is searching for 100 African women who have inspired their communities. Visit powerof100.thewcommunity.com to nominate African women who deserve recognition.
Your nomination counts.
Access more than banking.
My son Frank, I no longer have much time. I've been reflecting on my life and I have many regrets. I regret how I treated you when you were younger. I regret not being there for you as a father. But my biggest regret, Frank, is not buying more homes from Foreshore Waters. Imagine how much more wealth I could have built and still handed them over to you. My son.
Actually, Mr. Johnson, this is Dr. Paul, not your son. and it was a false alarm. You're not dying, just a few drugs, and you're good to go.
You don't mean it. In that case, call me Fortune Waters right away. Many of our customers returned to buy more homes than they did before. You can also experience the wealth building effect of a Fortune home when you buy a 5-bed luxury maisonette off Banana Island Road at 119.99 million naira initial deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Call 0700-666-6888 or visit fwl.ng or visit number 27 Banana Island Road, Ikoyi, Lagos.
Find amazing treats for everyone this holiday with Showmax. Celebrate like a champion with soccer.
Very well taken.
Find your festive inspo with our masters of style.
That's what I'm here for.
Embark on a fun-filled global adventure.
Here we go.
Share your love moments with family and friends.
My son, the most handsome.
And enjoy some truly royal spoils.
I want the power to control what happens in my life.
Only on Showmax, because everyone deserves a holiday treat.
If your car just got bashed like that, would you be this person?
See how you bashed my car, eh? Are you driving with your eyes closed? Did you leave your brakes at home? Who is going to pay for this damage? I've entered it today. By the time I finish with you, you will know who I am.
Or this person.
Are you okay? You're sure? Don't worry about the damage. I am AXA covered.
Being AXA covered is now easier. With AXA Comprehensive Motor Insurance, you can even insure your car today and pay monthly. Call 0700 AXA Mansard or visit axamansard.com to get started now.
5 Alive Poppy. So much pop. So many ways to pop it. He gulps it. She chews it. He slurps it. Filled with pulp in every bowl, everyone pops it their way. So, how do you pop it?
Mr. Teacher, please, what happens when children come to school? How is it that they leave home very neat and return looking so different?
Non-stop action, ma. All the learning and sports burn energy. So those sweat stains, torn uniforms, and dirty shoes, they show that your kid has been very active.
Now, wow.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo. He done of trading himself. James, hello.
Susan, I beg. Say you the wine me.
For where? You who no longer depend solely on your salary.
So you people trade and don't carry us along in this office, Abby?
Jerry, now you they talk like this. Who doesn't want an extra stream of income? But I'm still looking for better trading conditions, I beg. Fast execution of my trades and possibly an account where swap no go carry all my profits where I don't know.
Guy, HFM.com.
For me, I wouldn't mind better spreads at all, and it won't be a bad idea to be able to make withdrawals in a flash.
All we want is transparency and great customer service.
Guys, I said HFM.com.
Which one is HFM.com again?
Switch to HFM today to enjoy ultra-fast execution, 1 to 2,000 leverage, tight spreads, swap-free, and more.
Guy, show us the way now.
Wait, are you sure deposits and withdrawals are sharp?
I said HFM.com. Visit www.hfm.com. HFM, online trading at its finest.
Is it okay to make fun of our tooth gap? Let's have a talk. Colgate makes your teeth so strong. Stop cover your mouth. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. 0 cavities and fresh breath. If you use a Colgate paste. Not to do yanga with your smile. Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world. My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now.
25 naira per share. And for every 6 share I hold, I get one more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 naira each. This means that if you already have shares in FBN Holdings, you can get one new one for every 6 you own. And there are over 5.9 billion shares available. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch or go to fbnholdings.com to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First Mobile Banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info. This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to the Morning Crossfire. I'm Sheriff Quadry. Captain Blade is here in the studio with me. Together we've been looking at the security or insecurity situation in Nigeria. You can join. You can watch live on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. We have so much to still talk about. We'll try, of course, bring you into the conversation as time permits. Let me quickly go to my guest, Captain Blade. Let's talk about this insecurity in the Southeast. Yes. Quite a number of people have said that this is terrorism in the Southeast. Some just said, no, it's just an unrest of some people who are dissatisfied with what is going on in the country. But how would you describe it? What is going on in the Southeast?
Insecurity is insecurity is insecurity. There are no grades or colors. Wherever it is found, it should be treated as such. What is good for the goose, they say is good for the gander. So here's the thing. In the Southeast, there are issues that bring about concern, and these issues are fallouts from the detention of someone who was said to have led or who is the leader of a group that calls for the formation of the state of Biafra. Now, I think that particular situation is overflowed. Okay, and what I'm about to say is what I think from the outside looking in. Those in there looking out may have different opinions.
Okay.
The man in question, that is Kanu Nnamdi, is still being detained, and a lot of people have asked for his release. If I had my way, he'll be brought to the table. Certain conditions will be given, what they call terms and conditions apply in the jingles, if I hear them.
Yes.
And after doing that, you let him off. You let him off. You see, you don't say a man will fail an exam until he has written the exam and failed. Then you say, okay, he failed the last one. No, I don't think he's ready to pass this one.
Right.
But he hasn't written, he hasn't failed. You can't just say he can't write this exam, he will fail. Let him go fail himself and let's see. Isn't it? That's my own opinion. So what is happening in the Southeast just gives all and sundry that incubative scenario to come out and do whatever and just sweep it right under the carpet that we're acting in the name of this man.
Who mismanaged the situation?
The system was, the situation was mismanaged by our politicians. That's my own take again. I have certain feelers in certain places that told me this thing has turned political because there are some people who believe, let's keep him there where we have him because he has a followership. So here's the scenario. There are people, I don't know, that's my own take based on what you can call snippets and what you can call beer parlor talk. But then we sit down and we have our own roadside analysis. And people have brought in concerns to say they have politicized it because there are politicians who want to ensure that he remains there. Remaining there simply for them is because they feel, given his followership, if he signs all the agreements and he keeps to them, He will influence any elections if he says, don't vote Quadry from wherever he is. And says, vote this one from wherever he is. But if you ask me, in fairness, insecurity is insecurity is insecurity. Let's treat it as that. Let's isolate this man, Nnamdi Kanu, sit him down, let him sign what he will. If we like, we can even pronounce exile. I don't know whether that is legitimate anymore. Isn't it? Then we go in there and treat whoever wants to be killing people and beheading them the way we treat the ones who were handling in the northeast, in south, northeast, northwest, and wherever. Because as I told you, insecurity is insecurity. The biggest price we are paying for our romance with insecurity is not even tangible. It's abstract, subliminal. And that's why the solutions too have to be abstract, subliminal. If you recall, we're talking about solutions. When we are talking solutions to what is happening, the National Orientation Agency and the National Security Agency have work to do. They have work to do. They are actually the last bastion of what you call low-hanging fruits, quick fix to our insecurity situation in Nigeria today.
Talking about low-hanging fruits, Captain Blade, let's talk generally now, and I'm going to bring you back to the Southwest. We've talked about other regions. The Southwest is also facing its own brand of insecurity.
Yes.
You get a lot of kidnappings.
A lot, yes,
You get a lot of ritual killings. You get a lot of
brigandage.
People being harassed on the road, robbery in traffic, and all of that. It spikes now. Is this about economic situation, or we're looking at the start of what may become a big monster?
What you are seeing in the Southwest is actually as I told you, I said we are creatures of habit and we're social in nature. We copy, we take cue. Okay, what you see happening here today, it starts somewhere, and then the perpetrators become bolder as they model others who are doing it and getting free. We have known thugs, okay? We have known thugs in the Southwest who are affiliates. In fact, they are as close to political principles as your head is to your ear. Okay? It's been there from time immemorial.
It's been encouraged over time.
Yes. There was one who has a very popular name that has to do with a country called Japan. There was one who has a name that is virtually one of the options in your four-wheel drives.
What option is that?
There's this auxiliary. You remember auxiliary?
Okay.
You remember Tokyo?
Yeah.
You remember the Elewemos of this world? Yeah. They were there. And
they were known thugs. They
were career thugs. They had no apologies to anyone. And who were their principals? They are politicians, some of whom are still in power today. So here's the thing. If you were born in 2022 and you grew up in a society where you saw a miscreant, a non-entity, cash out being a thug, what will your ambition be? So you have them proliferating everywhere, and one day they may just come out and tell you, you know what, we are going to own streets per thug. And what do you want to do? So it's as I told you, insecurity is insecurity in any way you look at it. And if you are not ready to nip it in the bud, then someday that puppy you overlooked will grow up to become a monster dog.
One of the monsters that the South, and this is not peculiar to the Southwest alone, the South, and even the Southeast, the southern part of the country is also facing is the monster of cultism.
Yes, cultism. You see, cultism itself is something that we cannot begin to stop today. And that is where the NSA and the NOA come into being. When I'm talking of the NOA and the NSA, I'm talking of NSA, the institution, and NOA, the institution. You see, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I have something in my archives, and it's not new. Germany, Russia, Israel, United States, England, they did it, and it succeeded. I say a mind is a terrible thing to waste because what we need now is to capture subconscious Nigeria. Our corporate brands are already doing it. They bombard your subconscious with jingles. And the next time you need that thing is the one you've been hearing in your jingles that starts to appeal to you. I'm sure there are times you are taking a shower and a song you had no will.
You just start humming it and wait, why am I singing this thing?
Exactly. That's because it got into your subconscious at a point where your brain was in your alpha state. There are 3 possible states of your brain right now. Right now we're in the beta state, BETA, when you're active. Alpha, then theta. Okay? Beautiful. I won't go into that because it's a little bit complex. But that's where we need to go right now. So we can begin to program 5-year-olds. And in the next 10 years, when you say you're a court member, people will look at you and say, who's exactly? For me and my generation, maybe we're already fish dry. We're dried fish. But what of the fresh fish? The NSA has his job cut for him. He must enter subconscious Nigeria. The skill set to do that is not what I will divulge here, but they're available. That's my playground. That's what I do. That's what keeps me awake at night. How I can program people without them even knowing I am programming them. So right now, what are we doing? We are unconsciously programming youths to be thugs, to be cultists, because it's in their face every day. And if they happen to see these things when they are in the alpha state of mind, it enters their subconscious. So somebody will look at you and tell you who school pay. Waiting again to go school. I mean school na scam. Of course. So what are we programming? If you go if you are an intelligence operative or you are a former intelligence operative, there were projects like Project Ultra, MK Ultra. There were many projects, many top secret projects that were actually declassified less than 10 years ago of what happened in the 60s with foreign intelligence agencies spearheaded by the NSA of those countries.
I mean, Captain, because of time, because I was going to talk to you about the NSA as a person and the NSA as an institution. Tell me about Nuhu Ribadu. What's your assessment of him? Because we can't discuss this conversation without bringing the NSA into it.
Sir Nuhu Ribadu, I recall when he was appointed, I sat on this same seat in this same studio with Uncle Jimmy. And I said he had to be 3 things at once. A fox, a lion, and a peacock. The NSA is not meant to be seen nor heard. But at the same time, no one should be in doubt that he's in charge. NSAs maintain an absent presence within the nation they preside over. NSAs will be foxes because they have to be cunning enough to meet our threats and friends with wisdom. NSAs will be peacocks because they have to be loved by all. Anywhere you hear NSA, you should feel secure and you're ready to fall asleep because he's 50 gazillion years ahead in his thought and his mind place. And an NSA has to be a lion because he must be feared by our enemies. Our NSA at the moment is a bit very, very visible. And you see, when your enemies see you, they will always guess where you are going, if not where you are coming from. So I have spoken in parables right now. The office of the NSA is one office that has immense powers. But what I want our NSA, that is the agency now, to lean towards and be in a very intimate relationship with the NOA, National Orientation, is to look more towards subliminal Nigeria, We must enter subconscious Nigeria. And that's where you will see. Let me give you an example of subconsciousness. If you watch the military parade, you will see what we call one mind happening. You see everybody, regardless the number, there could be 100,000. They move in sync. Everything happens as if it's one person doing it, and nobody is talking. Yes, that thing has been etched into them through what we call repetition and autosuggestion. Repetition is what you call rehearsal. So the soldiers rehearse that parade until they can virtually do it while sleeping. And the moment you put them on parade and you just leave them alone, you see it happening. And that's where you see people clapping. You see 100 legs moving at once, hands, everything is just moving one time. That is one mind. It's a psychological thing. It takes a lot of effort for you to do it. But once you get it, it becomes habit.
That's one of the solutions that you say you want to talk about. Let's talk about other solutions that you had in mind, or you have in mind, that you've been talking about in combating insecurity because of time.
Yes, if you want to combat insecurity today, given where it has gone in Nigeria, the solution cannot be physical anymore. You see, bullets and bullets cannot solve it.
Okay.
You can already see some of our bandits are holding weapons that are so sophisticated, you wonder where they are getting it. Now, for you to combat this thing properly, you have to enter the minds of the locals. And to enter the minds of the locals, there are certain sounds and noises you must begin to expose them to.
Tell us about that.
Good. Let me give you an example. If I walked into this room and I greeted you in your mother tongue, I would take a, it gets to you more than if I greeted you in English as we're speaking. So that's it. That's the beginning. The National Orientation Agency, there are what I want to call solution options that we can put into place that will bring even those who are into this out. It will make them stand out like sore thumb. Now, today we have people whom to you look like Northeasterners, but to the Northeasterners are foreigners. You have people who are homeless, people who have been expelled from their countries. If you go watch Orphans of the Sahara by Christiana Amanpour,
yeah.
She did a documentary, Orphans of the Sahara, rejects from overthrown governments across the Sahel. They find themselves in the Sahara and they now come into Nigeria because of our porous borders, and they pretend to be us. The man who is from Lagos will look at him and say, that's a northerner. But we northerners know that he's not even a Nigerian. Now there is a mode, a solution option mode. We can key into the locals there that they begin to stand out anywhere they show up. I'll give you an example. They cannot go to Togo. They cannot go to Ghana. Comparative Nigeria, these countries are not so big. So if in the last 22 years or 20 years they've been able to create so much problems to us, that means they just need 15 minutes to overrun Togo. Why haven't they gone there? Because there's something about the Togolese that will make them stand out as sore thumbs. We must indigenize security. Okay? We must localize security. We must make it such that when you come, you stand like a sore thumb. There is no room for landing once we achieve that. And the fastest way to key into that is, they say politics is local. Security too is local. Oh yes, security too is local. And we can do it without beginning to raise dogs and arm them with Dane guns and say they are vigilante when your threats are carrying the latest weapons from wherever. So these solutions are not as academic as they sound. Once we sit with any interested party, you begin to see it. I mean, let me give you an example again, as I said. When it is time to do a campaign, there are no ungoverned spaces.
They go everywhere.
Oh my. You will see ballot boxes and posters every cranny of this country. So what suddenly made Nigeria have ungovernable places and outlands when it's time for security? And last of all, again, we must be able to measure. If you don't measure anything, you cannot control it. We've spent so much on security in Nigeria, but can we match results and returns to expense? I know security is expensive, but then why don't you ask a particular arm of security to give you a financial statement of the last 5-10 years? And once you have the financial statement, you go straight to cash flow. Oh yes, go to cash flow.
Compare and contrast.
Exactly. Do your cash flow statement. Let me see. Where is it coming from? What are you using it for? Are they operations expense heavy, or are they capital expenditure heavy? We get to see.
Captain Blade, I know we have so much to talk about.
Indeed.
But we must go now. We're completely out of time. It's always a pleasure to have you here. For 2-3 hours, we can continue on and on and on. I know that during the break, we had a conversation about shadow ops and all of that.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we couldn't get to.
Yeah, of course, we didn't do shadow ops, but we'll still do that sometime.
Yes, we'll do that sometimes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Captain Blade.
You're most welcome.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Lagos, that's our show today. Our biannual show called The Roundtable is next. After the news at the top of the hour, you have your favorite OAPs in the studio, and we'll have a conversation of big stories in 2024 coming up right here. It's been a pleasure to have been here with you on the Morning Crossfire. Good morning to you.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.